Bruce, who's somebody in the wrestling industry that deserves some credit that no one has ever heard of? Shout out some people behind the scenes in WWE.
Besides me?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that somebody there contributes something besides you. Like when you were in Santa Barbara, you couldn't be doing it all. There had to be one person of value left behind that no one talks about.
I think Kathy Morrell in travel. I think she is the travel folks, the folks that move talent from place to place that are unsung heroes that get all the heat and get all the aggravation, but never get any of the thank yous.
For years I heard people like Ric Flair say, boy, being the head of talent relations is the worst job in the business. It is the most thankless job, blah, blah, blah. Second behind that has to be travel. Because my God, especially like with all that we've had happening with inclement weather and just natural disasters, flights are changing all over the place. We got to have a live TV show. This guy's got a kid's appointment and blah, 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 blah.
And you got to make it happen.
Got to make it happen. It's constant. I mean, it is a rat wheel every week.
The creative services people work tirelessly, endlessly. The people in production, it's everybody, man.
Yeah.
When I say it's a team, it's not lip service. It's a team. It takes a giant team to bring all this craziness together and make it work. Hey, man, how about the truck drivers? How about the truck drivers that are driving through inclement weather just to get to the next show because they know it has to be put up? The cameramen who, all they do is hold the camera, who run their own lines, who run everything all the way through, then take all their stuff down and hold a camera that's not light for 5 hours a night. And don't miss shots and get yelled at and screamed at all night long and never complain. I just think that we have the best overall crew in anywhere in the world, man. There are so many to name one discounts everybody else, and,
right?
And it is the best.
Denovius Mack has an interesting question, Bruce. If the roles were reversed for all parties involved in the Montreal screw job, do you think Sean would have put over Brett in San Antonio on his last night in the company before heading to WCW, given the close relationship Sean and Vince had? That's interesting.
If Sean were leaving?
Sean's leaving, headed to WCW. His last show with the WWF is in San Antonio. In the main event, it's him and Brett. He's been asked to drop the title to Brett. Would Sean have done business, or is it a screw job?
I think Sean would have done business, first of all. And second of all, I think that never would have gotten to that point. And I think that it would have been taken off of him long before that.
Easy enough. Eric wants to know, why don't you think the Bad News Brown character ever made it to the main event? I always thought he was the precursor for the Stone Cold character. He did work with Hogan and MSG on top a few times, didn't he?
Absolutely. He worked all over the Hornets on top with Hogan. Yeah, absolutely.
Matt S. wants to know, if Gorilla Monsoon had stayed healthy, does he become one of Vince McMahon's stooges alongside or instead of Briscoe or Patterson?
I don't know. That's an interesting question, because I don't know that Gino's ego would have allowed him to do that. I don't think that Gino would have wanted to. Yeah. But at the same time, Gino did the whole with his fly open bit at the original Slammies. I don't know. He might have been great too.
Ryan has an interesting question. He says, I've been binge watching some primetime wrestling from 87, and you do commentary on a lot of matches with Mike McGurk, Johnny Valiant, and Duke Doherty. You've always said,
I'd like to apologize for that.
You've always said that you hated doing commentary, but I thought you were pretty good. On the other hand, Duke Doherty and Johnny Valentine are two of the worst commentators I've ever heard in my life. God awful. Did you hate it because of your partners, Bruce? What are your thoughts on them? And also, as a side note, I popped during one match where the Hart Foundation were the defending tag team champions, and you said this match is for the World Wrestling Federation Tag Team Championships and belts, which is kind of fun. Why did you hate doing commentary?
He said, this match for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship and belt. That's the way we announce shit. Well, what Johnny Valentine? It was Mike McGurk and
Johnny Valiant,
Pete Doherty. God, every once in a while, Johnny Valiant, Johnny V might have done a show with us. I wasn't good at it. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't feel that, like, there's a confidence if I go out to cut a promo. There's a confidence if I, come on this show and do this and I can talk to you and I can talk to you about anything. There is not that same confidence when I know that a bell's going to ring and I've got to tell a story between bell to bell and make it compelling. I don't think that I have that skill set down. So I just don't think I'm good.
Let's do another question here from Dan Lee. Bruce, was there ever any discussion about putting the Big Boss Man back in the blue police uniform during his return to the company? As a kid, that was my favorite version of Ray Traylor. I think that would have been fun. Well, why don't you think that happened?
Because police uniforms progressed. He was SWAT, man. He graduated. He was now a badass. He wasn't just some street cop, some street damn boss man in the prison guard. Now he was a badass. He grew. He got promoted. Why?
I don't think he was in it. No, I don't think he was. Like the Big Boss Man donning the OG persona for the gimmick battle royal. That would have been fun. I mean, that would have been. Yeah.
Yeah.
Carl Hayes says, while Houston never won a poll back in the day, both shows were great hits. Do you think we might get a third or an episode of old territory stories? I'd like to do more territory stuff. Is there a topic you'd like to talk about territory wise one day on the show, Bruce?
I mean, was Houston part of it?
Yeah, we did 2 Houston episodes. That's what he's saying is, although they never won a poll, they were still good.
For us.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Look, I think that there are a lot of stories out there just in general on territories and different quirks and different bookers and how they booked and why and the talent that they brought in. And when talent, how you could tell when a booker was leaving, if that talent was leaving ahead of time, normally your booker was leaving shortly thereafter or vice versa. So there are, different ones to go back and look at. California Roy Shires and Mike LaBelle and just some of those unsung heroes of West Texas and the Funks and Murdoch and Mulligan and Gory Guerrero. There are just some incredible stories all throughout the territories that can be, put out and people go, huh? They did what? Because they always look, they all had talent that made it to the big two somehow, some way. And you go back to the, Alabama, how many times was it sold? To how many different owners? To how many different bookers were brought in before the Fullers came back to save everything. So I think there's a lot of good stuff.